We move on now to B. So B reads as follows: summarize 4 classifications of hedge funds. And part 2 is asking explain 3 regulatory concerns associated with hedge funds there. So that is part B. B part 1 is asking us to distinguish or to try and identify the classification of hedge funds. And we can be able to classify them into A, we can say here is event-driven strategies. These event-driven strategies are driven by what we can term as maybe some form of restructuring. If the company is expected to restructure or maybe to try and acquire this company, this target company, this is the predator company, what would happen is that the hedge fund would consider investing in the target company's shares so that the synergy, once the synergistic benefit is realized, when this company takes over this company, then the share price tends to move up very significantly there. So that is what you're saying is event driven. I can see there it indicates that it is 4 marks right over there. So we don't really need to spend so much time trying to explain. Probably maybe once I explain, as I'll be listing them as I explain them, we don't really need to explain them over here. This has actually been covered very well where we are looking at private equity in the course content of alternative investment. So we don't need to really spend so much time. Probably I also do not need to underline it like that because it's 4 marks. Then B is opportunistic strategies. So under opportunistic, you try and identify opportunities, trying to go long. You first of all buy an asset and then you short a corresponding or a similar asset like that. So you try and identify perceived opportunities that exist within the hedge fund universe or within maybe other asset classes there. So you're trying to identify opportunities that exist within there. This opportunistic strategy is almost related to the relative value strategies. In that relative value, try and identify the undervalued securities. Whichever you're looking at, you could be looking at fixed income, you could be looking at equities, you could also be looking at maybe say commodities. So relative value strategies try to identify mispricings that exist within any asset class. Under opportunistic strategies, you're trying to identify opportunities that exist, yes, still on mispricings, but the difference between the two over here is that you can be able, in opportunistic strategies, you tend to go, you buy an asset and then you correspondingly sell the same asset probably in a different market over here. So probably maybe you can say over here there is arbitrage opportunities that exist, yes, the fixed income arbitrage or other arbitrage strategies are the ones which are covered under opportunistic strategies there. D is equity hedge. Under equity hedge, here you are trying to identify maybe particularly inclined towards equity securities where you try and identify opportunities that exist within the equities airspace. Now, here, only focusing on equities, these others are focusing on other strategies or a blend of the strategies like fixed income, derivatives, and the rest. This one is geared towards trying to invest in the equity portion of equity or investing in equities that are of different countries there. In opportunistic strategies, again, opportunistic usually go outside. There's a tendency to invest in opportunities outside the given jurisdiction that you actually have right over there. So we are saying that opportunistic strategies focus on opportunities that exist both locally and internationally. Here you could be able to concentrate on local strategies alone or international strategies alone there like that. Equity hedge, you only invest in the equities or in equity securities within the equities airspace. So you can consider investing in preference shares and common shares only there. So So those are the strategies that are applicable in hedge funds. Now we can be able to move on to part 2, which was asking explain 3 regulatory concerns associated with hedge funds. So part 2, regulatory concerns, the regulatory concerns associated with hedge funds. Now the regulatory concerns, you can say A, the first regulatory concern is the fees chargeable. Because of lack of regulation, the fees chargeable is not prescribed for hedge funds there. So we are saying that this fund over here could charge 2 and 20. This other fund could charge 3 and 15. Another fund over here could charge 5, maybe 1.5 and 17, like that. So this represents management fee, this management fee, and this is incentive fee. Management fee, incentive fee, management fee, incentive fee. Please look at my my video, or the video which I've actually done for alternative investments, that covers these fees right there, particularly in hedge funds there. So we can be able to say that the fees chargeable is not provided. The fees chargeable is not what is standardized, or there is no standardization in terms of fees chargeable. B, can say another regulatory concern is that the taxation of hedge funds, what tax rate should be applicable, or are some hedge funds taxable? Some of them are exempt. That is also a concern. So taxation of hedge funds is a regulatory concern. So it may be applicable and it may not be applicable. So that is what we are saying there. C, we are saying lockup provisions. The lockup provisions for hedge funds may not be specified. Some of them may have 2 years, some of them may have 3 years, like that. So lockup provisions for hedge funds. Lockup provisions for hedge funds are not standardized. D, and we are saying the final one is that performance reporting for hedge funds. Performance reporting is not a must. Some hedge funds may contribute towards performance reporting. Some other hedge funds may also may not contribute towards performance reporting. So we say performance reporting is optional. Performance reporting is optional. That poses a regulatory concern there. Now, having looked at those regulatory concerns, they were asking for 3 of them. I have given 4 of them. You can mention any 3 of them right there.